All right, you all have made it to the last session of the day, and this one is going to be great. I know I'm going to get a lot out of it because it's about how to make presentations that actually penetrate people's minds and stick with them. So I'm going to start this session by asking you all to use your imaginations for one quick minute. The reason I'm doing this is because I have started every session, and probably every session you've been in all day, with the same set of 4 slides, 2 with something called Interprify, which I hope all of you have found by now, that would give you closed captioning or a translation, and then 2 that are thanking our sponsors, which is a long list of people and very important because we wouldn't all be here if we didn't have sponsors. And however, because this presentation is set up on the slides, for me to go back to those previous slides would screw things up, and I don't want to do that. So I am asking you on your honor right now to think kind thoughts about our sponsors and think about visiting their booths tomorrow and everything, because sponsors are super important to an event like this. So I'm just going to read the first 3 words of this description for this next session because I think this is brilliant. They are insipid, selfish, boring. How many people have been in presentations that seemed to be insipid, selfish, or boring? If you if you pay attention to this next presentation, hopefully you at least will never be responsible for this again. And what I love about what I love about Jason Thomson is that when I went up to him earlier and said, "Is there anything special you want me to say when I introduce you?" he said, "No, because they're not going to care who I am. They're going to care what I have to offer," which is exactly right and exactly true of the best presentations. And I think that's the best intro that I could give to Jason Thomson. So he is from SUGR, Speak Up, Get Results. His title is Connection Supernova. I'm going to let him explain that one. Welcome, Jason.
Bless you for being out here at 3. Thank you. I get a handshake and everything?
And everything.
That's a good MC. You've been doing great work today, my friend.
Ooh, thank you.
Dun, dun, dun. Good morning. Good afternoon. It's good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's great to be here. Or good evening. It's an honor to speak to you tonight. Good morning. I'm thrilled to be here in Seattle. My name is Jason Thomson. Let me tell you a little bit about me. My name is Jason. My company's called Sugar. Speak Up, Get Results. Let me tell you a little bit about my company. Let me tell you why I'm here today. Let me start by saying here is where we are as an organization. Oh, here's where we're going as an organization. But first, here's where we've been as an organization. Thank you so much for listening today. It means the world that you came here. Thank you for coming out. You know what? Here's my email address if you want to learn more. Reach out to me. I would love that. In 30 years, I've seen 3,000 presentations. 99% of them have a moment just like that awful thing that I just shared with you, right? Good morning, it's great to be here. Oh my goodness. Some time ago, I decided that I did not want to sit through any more garbage presentations. And so what I did was I came on a mission. And I'm actually applying some of that mission here today. My goal is to make you think differently about presentations, what they can accomplish, and what you can accomplish with those presentations. And here's the best news. I can summarize it in 3 words. 3 words that will make a difference to the way that you present, or if you're a planner, the way that you help others present, like those CEOs who are awful at what they do. You ready to see the 3 words? Connection counts most. That's it. If you write down one thing today, I want you to write that down. Connection counts most. And I know what you're thinking to yourself. Connection, yes, of course. That's me and you. We're friends now, right? Like I know that you were talking and that you talked for 3 years and you got better at it. Yes, that's one kind of connection. But there are actually 3 kinds of connection that you want to get better at. The first one is the human connection, right? Looking into your eyes and saying, I know you. But the second one is just as important. It's the ability to connect the dots. We barf out so much information at audiences, and we expect them to retain that information. They don't. They won't. They can't. What you have to do is you have to connect the dots. You have to not just give me information, but give me context. Help me see, help me understand, help me take something away, which brings the third kind of connection. And that kind of connection is the bridge. I want to give you an idea so pervasive, so interesting, so useful that you steal it from me and you take it home and now it's your idea. That's what we think when we read Atomic Habits or we read Unreasonable Hospitality, like things like that. That is what it's all about. So today I'm going to talk about how you do this. I made a little graphic for you that shows you exactly what to do. This is an intention graph. I make them for all of my programs. And right now, I'm actually breaking a cardinal rule because you're no longer listening to me. You're reading that. So I'm taking it away. But I got a promise for you. Which is hang out for the session because at the end, I have a QR code. And with that QR code, you're going to get a high-resolution version of this, plus a whole lot more. I got infographics. I got an episode of the radio show I do in Toronto on presentation skills. You almost get a second bonus round. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to give you 3 moments. Today, you're going to walk out of this room, and you're going to be able to present better immediately because I'm going to talk about 3 very specific moments from that graph. So, what are the 3 moments I'm going to talk about? I'm not going to tell you. This is an old speechwriter's trick. If I don't tell you, I have curiosity. And if I take you on the journey, you will listen. And if you listen, you'll give me what I want. Because that's the thing about presentations. We learn our skill of presenting by watching the person down the hall and how they presented. We don't actually think about how we present and how to be effective in those presentations. Here's the secret. This is what presentations is all about. I want something from you. I want you someday to think, I need a keynote speaker. I need speaker coaching. I need content. And I want you to remember that giant Muppet that you saw jump off the stage in Seattle and say, that guy. In order to get that, I need to give you something. And that's what I'm going to do over the next few minutes. I'm going to give you these 3 moments. Now, I want you to succeed. So to succeed, I'm going to show you one of these moments as a preview. What I'm really doing is I'm telling you when you can look at your phone. Yeah, that's right. I know that you're going to disengage with me. And guess what? That's okay. You're a human being. You should disengage from me because I'm not interesting all the time. This is segment number 2, chapter number 2. I'm going to give you a bit of background. I'm going to give you a story, and then I'm going to give you a headline. That headline, that is the thing that you want to write down because it tells you how. How do you make connection count most? What do you specifically have to do? Then I'm going to give you some skills. Then I'm going to give you some tools. And then you're actually going to try it out. Yeah, we're going to do short form exercises because it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon and we're all sleepy and want to have a nap right now. Let's find a way to jostle you and get you moving. Every single chapter is organized just like this so that we can get you to be successful. Now, I said we got a little exercise. And in fact, I'm going to give you the first one right now because this stuff doesn't work in the abstract. You can't think about a presentation and then just apply this. Let's apply it to a real presentation. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about a presentation that you're going to give in the near future, or one that you have given, or one that you're going to oversee. Because again, if you're a planner, you probably see CEOs and directors of marketing and leaders watch this entirely every single event. So I just want you to pick a presentation. Here's a couple of examples that you can use. CEO sales kickoff. I see like 40 or 50 of these a year, all the way down to an acceptance speech. Strangely, I had to give the eulogy at my dad's celebration of life 2 weeks ago. It was great. I know, that sounds super weird. We had a great relationship. He had a great life and that sort of stuff, but I got to honor him well by giving the eulogy. I often wonder, why did they pick me to give the eulogy? I think with all of this energy, I can understand a little bit. All right, you ready? Everybody, I just want you to take 1 minute, think about a presentation that you gave, or did you give a presentation recently? Yeah, this morning, right? One of the best presenters I've seen in the last year. Good stuff, get insight. All right, let's get into our first moment. Every presentation should be about something, not about everything. Today, I am going to deliver more than 5,000 words. What are you going to remember? You're going to remember the stuff that I repeat, because what gets repeated gets remembered. So connection counts most is going to come up 10 to 15 times today. Why? Because if I want you to take away one thing, it's that one thing. I really, really focus on headlines. I call those the point, that overall, overarching thesis that you take away. Has anybody here have kids? Or has anybody here been a kid? I have kids in university, post-grad, he made it. Someone in university and someone in high school. And I say to them, if you want a B on your next essay, tell me what happened. If you want an A, tell me why. That's the difference between a good essay and a great essay and a bad presentation and a good presentation. Your presentation needs to be about one thing. If you say three things, you say nothing. Give me something to focus on. So if you're the CEO who's talking about, here's where we were, here's where we are, and here's where we're going, you haven't given me one thing, I won't remember anything. All I'll do is go, thank God it's over. Stand for something. It's as simple as that. That essay example, let's say you're doing an essay on Napoleon, because that's what we all do as adults. You can tell me who Napoleon was. B, A, tell me why he caused his own rise and his own downfall. Simple as that. I'm not giving you, hey, here's what you need to know about presentations. I am focusing it on that one key idea. Connection counts most. And the first thing you can do to connect the dots is to stand for something. 3 things you can do. The first thing that you want to do is that you have to look at your audience. In fact, on that list, that intention graph, that is entirely in service of the audience. There's actually a line that says profile your audience. It's the most important step you can possibly have. I thought about you, not in a creepy way. I thought about you for a while to be able to make sure that I'm going to deliver something that would be useful and valuable to you. And even just walking the audience beforehand and talking to some of you, I really thought, okay, what do I need to customize? What do I need to sharpen while I've got in this particular moment? Okay, so the first thing is you think about your audience. What do they want? What can I give you so that you'll give me what I want? And you know what I want? I want you to scan the QR code at the end of the presentation today. It's a micro action. And that gets us on, our steps to become best friends. I hope you have a guest room. Just saying. Come and hang out with you. All right. Second thing, find a way to say it in one sentence. Headlining is one of our most valuable tools. I'm going to get to that in just a second. But if you can summarize what it is that you want to deliver and do it in just one memorable sentence, you are ahead of the game. You are ahead of most presenters that are out there. The last thing is my favorite headline. It's the one that gets the most traction when I talk to people. What gets repeated gets remembered. It's the alliteration of the 2 R's that really lands hard. The reason for this is we have bad short-term memories. There are stats that will say you can remember 3 things. I've heard 6 things. You just can't remember it all. You have forgotten more to this point in the presentation than you will remember. But I'll bet you remember connection counts most, right? Because I just won't shut up about it. But I try to do it organically. Okay. 2 things you can do. This is going to be a great little infographic that you can take on how you develop a point. Really sharpen your program to one key thing. Think about your favorite business book. That's what your business book is doing. The thing I really want you to take away is how to write a great headline. We live in a headline world, which means that we communicate in short sprints. So, if you think about a text message that you've sent today, a Snapchat, maybe an email, remember those? That subject line in an email is your headline. Don't write, here's the draft you asked for. Write enclosed. Draft 3 of presentation, need feedback by 4 p.m. You know what happens when you do that? I feel like I have to come over here and say this to you. People listen, right? Because we've come underneath that line that you talked about last year. Give them the information to act on as quickly as possible. So you're going to write great headlines. And when you scan that QR code today, I have a longer form of this waiting for you. All right, let's try it out. I'm going to give you 3 minutes. That's it. I want you to think about the presentation that you're going to deliver or have delivered or may oversee, the one we talked about just a few minutes ago, and I want you to come up with one line that summarizes it. And the person who actually shares that with me at the very end is going to get one of these 51 engagement tools for any presenter. 3 minutes starting right now. Come up with one line that summarizes the presentation you may give. You ready? Go. Don't all jump in at the same time. Deep thinking. Tom, what's the presentation you're going to give?
How to improve your health and democracy.
How to improve your health and democracy? Yeah, that doesn't sound like it has any gravitas to it whatsoever. And who would you give this presentation to?
Anybody that wants to be in community.
Anybody who wants to be in community, not the television show or the movie that's supposed to be coming out next year. Come on, Donald Glover.
Lowercase c, yeah.
Lowercase c, okay. And I will leave you to think up your point for a second. What presentation are you giving or overseeing?
That travel is revolutionary.
Travel is revolutionary? Well, I'm here from another city. I have to agree with you. Seattle is the best. It really has become one of my very favorite cities, I think, other than Copenhagen, to come and hang out in. I'm not coming over to talk to you. Okay, maybe I'm coming over to talk to you. What presentation do you have to give?
How to create experiences that people want to be a part of.
How to create experiences that people want to be part of. What's your one line? Do you have a one line in your head? Well, let me ask you a question. How do you create experiences that people want to be part of?
I connect with community through business development and networking.
I connect with community through business development and networking. So let's summarize it. I will make up a point in real time for you. It's about the people, right? Can you remember it's about the people? There you are. You have your entry point into community. It's a triggering mechanism that we use in neuroscience that actually gets people on board. What is the point of the presentation that you gave today?
In the quest for voice equity, learn to interrupt elegantly.
Learn to interrupt elegantly. And the key word there is elegantly. You'll remember that. I call it a coat hook for the mind. That's a good one. All right. So we have a point. And that's our first move. The first move is to determine that one key statement. Again, that line, if you say three things, you say nothing. That is a point in of itself created by James Carville for the 1992 election, right? He actually told Bill Clinton, it's about the economy, stupid, or it's the economy, stupid is the line, and we remember that. Okay, second moment, second big moment is about the first minute of a presentation. There are two incredibly valuable pieces of real estate in a presentation. The first one is the last minute. That's where you're gonna ask for something. That is for you. And you've spent 15 or 30 or 60 minutes standing in front of an audience and saying, hey, here's great stuff. Now I want something back. The other moment that is incredibly valuable is the first minute of a presentation. In 2 weeks' time, I have to give the hardest presentation that I give all year. It's to a group of fifth graders, or as we like to say in Canada, grade 5. It's a weird little anomaly you probably didn't even know existed. Every year in Ontario, kids have to give a presentation. And every year, one person in that room is more afraid than any other. It's the teacher. Teachers hate this exercise. And here's why. You have 30 kids that do this. The Red Cross was founded in 1867 as a result of a... Yeah, it's a Wikipedia entry. 30 kids. I couldn't sit through that. And so when I tell these teachers, when my kid was in grade 5, I'm a speaker coach, you can almost see them start to well up. Maybe this year it'll be different. Now, I get 15 minutes. And in those 15 minutes, I tell them one thing, and it is critical to any presenter. I don't care if you are talking to your CFO and presenting the numbers. I don't care if you're doing a demo for IT. I don't care if it's the most boring HR initiative of all time. You need to deliver this. I love the card I get at the end of this. All the little kids they've written, don't be boring. And they giggle. Because what adult comes in and says this, right? So I feel a little bit like a superhero to them. That's what I teach them. Don't be boring. Start with a story. Start with a stat. Start with something that gets my attention immediately. In your first minute, you're going to do that too. First thing that you're going to do is you're going to think about something I like to call a startle statement. A startle statement is a statement that is not, good morning, it's great to be here. We know it's great to be here. It's fantastic. Tell me something that grabs me by the lapels and says, listen to me, because you have 4 seconds. In fact, you were judging me before I even took the stage today. That's why I smiled, because smile is trust. And then what did I do? I did a performative thing where I looked a little bit lost. And you're like, oh, here we go. The key thing for you is you want to grab the attention. I do a program on the first minute. And what I do is I put up a picture of BTS. BTS is the Korean boy band, just made an awesome comeback on Netflix. And I say, the first words out of my mouth are not good morning, it's great to be here. They are, my job in the next 30 minutes, turn you into a Korean boy band. Well, I got your interest now, don't I? And then I follow that up with the second thing I talk about here, an engagement tool. Hit them with something that grabs their attention and then hold their attention. Generally, I will tell a story. I love telling a story. I do a program on pitching. I tell the story of my worst pitch ever because everybody loves to see a train wreck. With the BTS story, it really is about how they gamed the algorithm for Spotify. All they did was figure out how to put all the good stuff in the first couple of seconds so that you'll keep listening. Because here's a fun thing about Spotify. If you listen to a Spotify song, I don't know why I'm focusing on you, but I think you do this, and you hate it. You hate that Discover Weekly, and you click skip before it hits 30 seconds, you know what happens? Nobody gets paid. So BTS wants to get paid, and that's how they do it. They put the good stuff in the first 30 seconds, and you want to do the exact same thing when it comes to the first minute of your presentation. The last thing that you want to do with your first minute is you want to understand that we are weird, messy computers. There are buttons you can press to get us on board. There are things around engagement. Great book if you're interested in this sort of stuff. It's called Persuasion. It's by Robert Cialdini. Cialdini is one of the godfathers, if you will, of behavioral economics. He wrote a book back in the 80s, and he lists out, these are the things that actually help you convert an audience. One of them is reciprocity. Reciprocity is if I give you a gift, you're going to give me something back. This is my gift. And at the end, I'm going to ask you again for that QR code scan, right? That's the exchange. Likability. Do you like me? Somebody in this room doesn't. They don't trust my energy. And that's okay, because the majority of you do like me. I hope, dear God, I've never put that out there before. Ultimately, you're trying to break into the brain. You're looking at the neuroscience. You're looking at the behavioral economics. You're looking at how to trigger an audience positively so they'll remember the good stuff and they'll get on board with you. This one, I know you're going to read it. It's going to be waiting for you, but it shows you how to break down that first minute. In fact, I think I also put a timeline on the last minute, which is instead of just saying, hey, here's my email address. If you want to learn more, don't say that. Don't say if. You know they want to learn more because you just gave them all this great stuff. You must know stuff. Let's hear some more. Second thing, it's about here's other ways to be interesting. It's really, really useful to be interesting and valuable to an audience because they will count on you to continue to be interesting and valuable to them. So with all that, let's give you one more little exercise. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about that presentation that you may be giving and think, what is the line that you will use to hook me right from the get-go? And really, this is just an experiment. You will spend a lot of time coming up with startle statements. I spend hours and hours trying to perfect them. But I'm going to give you 3 minutes right now to go out and do just that. Come up with a startle statement and think to yourself, what would be the next thing I'm going to do? I'm going to tell a story. I'm going to tell a story about my dad or my grandma or whatever it is. You ready? So 3 minutes. I want you to think about the first minute of the presentation you're about to give or oversee. And then I want you to think, what's the line you're going to use to hook me? You ready? Go. Silence in the room on the long and followed along with it so much I can't remember what day it is. I'm always here. What's the presentation that you're going to give?
I have to give a presentation to a women's group end of May. And I'm going to do a cooking demonstration and talk to them about how hospitality is how you make people feel.
How you make people feel. You know, you reminded me of a story. This is actually a story about my partner. She's a lawyer in the town in which I live, and she was about to give a presentation about estates and wills, right? And so I said, well, let's hear your story. And she begins, her opening is, good morning, it's great to be here. She literally said that. And she said, you know, my name's Genevieve DeVries. I run a law practice. And I'm like, stop. I said, who are you giving this presentation to? Mall walkers, right? 70 and 80-year-olds who actually have to get a will. I said, oh, what don't they have a lot of? And she goes, what do you mean? I said, time. They don't have a lot of time, right? So stop wasting their time and stand up and say something along the lines for a startle statement of, today I'm going to tell you 5 things that a lawyer will never tell you about drafting your will. You listening now? Yeah. So what are you going to say to them? Do you got any idea?
I was going to ask them about them and and by a show of hands, like how many people still cook, how many people still entertain. It is an older crowd.
Yep. This is great. This is a call and response mechanism. I have seen some excellent ones. One of my favorite ones were someone polling the audience of parents, and they said, who here has kids that are aged 1 to 3? And put up their hand. They're like, oh, you're the exhausted ones. That's empathy. And once you've got empathy, once you've got the audience on your side, they're in. Do you have a presentation you're going to give in the next little while?
I was thinking of giving an award to a volunteer.
I love that. So how are you going to open?
I was going to start by telling a story about waiting at midnight in the rain and really hoping this volunteer was about to show up with the truck that we were supposed to load all this stuff into at the end of an event, and they showed up.
I love that. What's the moment, what's the thing, because I do this a lot. I write a lot of award shows as a copywriter. And the thing I try to do with award shows is I try to make it useful for everybody. So what can I give the rest of the audience? What is it that makes this volunteer special?
They've been engaged with this organization for so long, so I wanted to make the point that like it's knitting into the whole community, that this one individual is special, but everyone can find that same magic.
So maybe your opening line is something along the lines of, I want to tell you what happens when you invest time in volunteering and how good it feels. Something along those lines. I don't know. I'm just making something up in real time. All right. So now we have 2 moments. Moment number 1, determine your point. What is that one sentence connection counts most that you want the audience to remember? Secondly, write that first minute. Make that first minute count. Hook me. Make me interested. I'm watching pens go. You have no idea what that does to my purpose statement. It makes me feel like $1 million. I see people nodding. I don't see many people falling asleep or drifting out of the room. That's a good sign for somebody like me at 3 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon. The third one is a weird one. And it's a weird one on purpose. I like sports. I particularly like baseball. Yeah, I'm a Jays fan. I'm sorry. I was there for games 2, 6, and 7. But I love coming to T-Mobile to see games. It's one of my favorite stadiums in all of baseball. But when I go to a baseball game, I never watch the baseball game. I watch part of the baseball game, but I'm on my phone the entire time on the MLB app or on Reddit talking about the baseball game. I am second screening. Somewhere around 1994, we stopped reading. What we did is we started to scan. And that has permeated to pretty much everything we do. We don't listen, we scan. And so we can be like the old man who's like, hey, everybody, you should stop scanning. It's never going to happen. You are not going to change that behavior. So what you have to do is you have to run towards that behavior. 2 places that make a really good case for that are apps and, yeah, that's a paper magazine. So let's start with apps. Think about your favorite app. For years, Carrot Weather was a big one, right? It is organized in a way that makes it really easy for you to find the information as quickly as possible. If you use Outlook, right? Look on Outlook. Like it says inbox in bright letters, big letters. And it's organized in a way that helps you find that information as quickly as possible. That is scannability. Magazines, here's a little challenge for you. Go up to 11th, find the Walgreens, go and buy a copy of Fast Company or Wired magazine. Open it up. Look at one of the articles. Headlines, subheads, bullets, listicles. There are 3 things in this article that you have to listen to. Number 2 is absolutely going to startle you. This is how we help you scan, because once you scan something, you will listen. You will invest in it. I have been helping you scan with these slides, with giving you little summaries at the beginning of each of my chapters and summaries at the end of the chapters as well. These things will show you how that works. Ultimately, what you're trying to do is what I'm trying to do. I am, again, not in a creepy way, obsessed with you. I think about you first. I wrote this talk 10 days ago. I write versions or present versions of presentation skills and do coaching hundreds of times a year. I got off the plane on Saturday. I enjoyed my day out at the market and walked up to Capitol Hill, found all these great coffee shops on Saturday, and I went to sleep Saturday night and I went, oh, it doesn't work. The exercises don't work because you're not thinking enough about your audience. So I obsessed about you on Sunday, stayed in on that nice sunny day for most of the day. I went down to the market and I thought about what would be important for you. And I'm going to give you a little insight at the very end of today that's going to show you how you tie all 3 chapters together. What do you do? How do you obsess over an audience? Number 1 is stop thinking about your speech as a written word. In fact, please don't write a script. Even if you're a script person, it really helps to work from a blueprint and outline that you just rehearse a lot to. That's what I did. What you want to do instead is you want to think about the UI and the UX. The UX is the experience. That's the thing that kept me up on Saturday night, which I didn't think the experience was going to be good enough for you. So I rewrote it, and I feel a lot better. Did yesterday afternoon, felt a whole lot better. Felt even better this morning when Lisa from the Northwest Event Show said, I can't find your slides. Can you resend them? And I was like, oh, I can revise these 2 slides even further, and they're not going to be an issue. The second thing is the UI. Right? Headlines, subheadlines. I mean, look at this slide. There's a headline, Wind Beneath the Wings, right? That's your job for an audience. You are to be their wind beneath their wings. You know we're on chapter number 3. You know we're on the 3rd element. All of that is designed to make you calmer because you know we're almost done. Yay. I can get out of here and I can go down to the waterfront and eat all the good food, and I'll see you there. That'll be great. The second thing is my favorite, initialism. This is a fun little grammar rule. There's a difference between an acronym, which is a real word, and an initialism, which is not a word, but it sounds fun. MERV. Memorable, interesting, relevant, valuable. MERV, memorable, interesting, relevant, valuable. You know what all 4 of those letters are? They're about you. I want this content to be memorable, interesting, relevant, and valuable. I'm not going to be boring. And so I'm going to continuously nourish you and give you great stuff. I want you to do the same thing. Come up and find me afterwards because what I have are these blue packs. 51 ways to engage an audience. None of them are a poll. Polling, by and large, is not engagement. It's distraction. If you have competitors in a room who are thinking about investing in AI, like I see with banks sometimes, and they're like, I want to know what my competitor over there does, that's a good reason for a poll. To take the temperature of the room, sometimes, but by and large, it's a good morning, it's great to be here moment. Last thing, you don't have to say everything. Are you enjoying the presentation today? You know why? It's almost over. You know what? I have 10, 12 more hours of content. You want to hang out for the next 10 to 12 hours so I can deliver that to you? You absolutely do not. I don't have to tell you everything. I just have to tell you enough so that you'll see me as credible and interesting, and you'll do the thing I want. And what is the thing I want? Do you remember what it is? Scan the QR code, right? Yeah, that's it. That's all I want. It's called a micro move, right? Like if I give you a micro action, you'll take it. And then when you get to that, you'll leave me your email address because you know you're going to get more great content. And then you're going to say, oh, Jason has a new coaching program coming out. Yeah, I want to get on the waiting list for that. One step at a time. Could be that you're trying to improve your brand. It could be that you're trying to help your leaders and executives, right? This is how you do that. Okay, 16 ways to make a presentation scannable. Tease what's coming up as a favorite of mine. I MC a lot of events. And in that MC, I consistently tell the audience, here is what is important. I don't read bios. I'll interview you on stage. I'll tell people why you're important in the first place. I won't just read a bio that nobody's going to remember as soon as it leaves my mouth. And there you go, my friends. I'm going to give us one more fantastic little exercise. And that exercise is I want you, in your first minute, to think about, you've thought about your startle statement, you've thought about your thing of engagement, you've thought about your point. Now, what I want you to do is what I did. I said, I'm going to break it down to 3 things. I'm going to tell you 3 things today. And in your head, all you've been doing is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Make a listicle for the presentation that you're about to give. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to think about what you can tell the audience is going to be coming up to get them excited around that presentation. Okay? Take the presentation, think about 3 things that you can preview or tease just like you're a news anchor, and give it to them. I love how you're already thinking. Like I've seen the pen go. This is good stuff. All right, here we go. Listicle, 2 minutes, away we go. You're like, wait, I'm trying to write my listicle down. Can I give an example? Yeah, here's a great one, right? Listen, when it comes to presentations, there are 11 steps that you need to take, and I'm going to cover 3 of them today. The second one is interesting. The third one you will never have heard before. So I've just given you a summary of the 3 things I did in this particular presentation, right? Tell me what your presentation is.
It's convincing nonprofits to invest in photography and strong imagery.
That's a good one. It's convincing nonprofits. Okay, so obviously the first thing you'll do when it's a pitch is you try to figure out what moves them. There's a great question you can ask. What does it take to win? So what is it that convinces them?
Fundraising, essentially winning grants in order to continue doing their work.
Love it. And do you have any data that supports that? Okay, not in your head, but that's good. But if you can find it, that's great, because you can begin with a startle statement, which is, I'm going to tell you how to increase the amount of fundraising by as much as 30%. And it's going to surprise you. It's going to surprise you because it's old school technology, which is photography, right? And then when you get into the thing, there are 3 things that you can do to make photography really sing and to escalate that overall investment in your audience, right? So now you're not just telling me about photography, you're making a business case and you're making me better at what I do. I love pitching. I didn't play high school sports. Pitching is my high school sports. I like to win, and that's how you do. There's a great blog post. It's called The Greatest Sales Deck I Ever Saw. Go and find it. You know what it doesn't say? It doesn't say, let me tell you about my company and what we bring. What it does say is, let me tell you about a meteor that's coming for you, and if you don't pay attention, you're going to get wiped out. Which of those 2 do you want to listen to? Do you have a listicle for your piece you're going to give? Okay. I mean, it's late. It's like 4 o'clock, right? You know, I want to have a nap too. I'm with you 100%. 3 things. 3 immediate things that you can do to think about presentations differently and to deliver them differently, because connection counts most. 3 things. Number 1, you are going to try and go out there and you're going to write that first minute. Look at that. See? It's still the old one. That's how excited I was to deliver it to you today. The first thing that I talked about was having a point. The second thing I talked about was writing that first minute, and that third thing I talked about was scannability. You can do all of these things too, and if you reach out to me, I'll give you something about the last minute. Ultimately, here it is. Connection counts most. Connecting to you, connecting the dots, building the bridge so that my idea becomes your idea. I hope all of you have something that you can steal today. There it is. These are the 10 and a bonus that will make a difference. If you do them in this order, and believe it or not, the first thing I tell people is write your last minute, because that's about purpose. Then profile your audience. When you profile your audience, what you're doing is you're figuring out what to give to them. And then you actually go through the individuals of building a blueprint, coming up with engagement tools, and rehearsing. Rehearse. Please, for the love of God, rehearse. I talked to somebody today who's a professional speaker who told me he didn't rehearse, and I went, oh my gosh, how can that possibly be? When you do all those things, you make connection counts most, and there it is. There's the QR code. Here's my ask for you. I've just given you all of this great stuff. I want you to take it away. I want you to make a difference. I want your next presentation to be the greatest presentation that you ever gave in the history of your life, and that people go, bring that person back. That is part of the reason why I am lucky enough to be here for the 3rd year in a row at the Northwest Event Show. Thank you so much, everybody. If you have questions, please reach out. Oh. Come on, did nobody catch me? If you have questions, of course I know you have questions. Come and find me. I have good stuff for you. Reach out. We'll make a difference together. All right. Go nap. Go, everybody nap. Get that coffee. Go down to the
Oh,
wall.
wait, are we doing event wrap?
Oh, right. How could I forget about you? You're like, you said too much stuff. I can't possibly keep up. Okay. You ready? Apparently, I'm going to record this so I can send it back to my kids and show them that I'm actually a little bit cool. Here we go.
Check, check, check. Oh, all right, I'm on. Hi, you guys can hear me? Hi, my name is Dizzy Sense. I am a freestyle rapper for a great group called Event Rap. We summarize meeting wrap-ups like this one right now. So I hope you guys enjoy. I have no idea what this song is called today. You guys could wave your hands. It's the last meeting, so we're here. Be different. Be bold. Find new ways you could break the mold. Be an innovator. Be creative. Don't believe me, believe Jason. Good morning, it's great to be here. One of the worst statements if we're being clear. I'll tell you a little bit more about it and a little more about a great speaker named Jason Thomson. What I admire about Jason's presentation was the approach. How he engaged with the folks. He made us disengage from our phones. And 3 important words: connection counts most. He didn't approach us with rage or have us focus on his presentation by how PowerPoints were placed. He left us all amazed, transformed from relaxed to a giant Muppet jumping off the stage. Here's a great phrase for planners and vendors. What gets repeated is what gets remembered. Pick your point, stand for something, and make it known. And in no time, you'll have an idea fully grown. One of the coolest acronyms I've heard as an adult is SUGAR. Speak up and get a result. To say we don't care who Jason is false, bruh. We're tremendously grateful for what he has to offer. He taught us about startle statements, something that creates discomfort but doesn't keep us complacent. Learn how to break into the brain and trace it. Use eye contact and demonstrate engagement. The best speaker isn't crowned by their value. They're memorable, interesting, readable, and have value. And all of those things that they say, friends, were 4 points that were demonstrated by Jason. So be different. Be bold. Find new ways you could break the mold. Be an innovator. Be creative. Don't believe me, you gotta believe Jason. Jason taught us about startle statements. And for that right there, I'm not complacent. I even walked away from my computer to give you all engagement like an active shooter. That one is crazy, I know. This is off the brain, so I'm making sure y'all seeing that it flows. And in here, we making that so pleasant. Without a PowerPoint, we're being power present. On the stage in front of the lights, and I got everyone with a camera right in my sights. Man, it's out of control. Thank you, Jason, for being one of the people that breaks the mold. You were relaxed and really composed. Me, I'm only here shining like a rose out of the concrete in these Seattle streets. Everybody wave their hands up and down with me. Yo, be creative, be bold, be present, and also break the mold. Thank you. My name is Dizzy Sense, and if you like raps and raps like that, please visit the Event Rap booth tomorrow at the Event Show Station. And yeah, if you like that video and recorded some, show it to me and let's chat. Peace. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody. This is the end of our Connection Day. I've been in here, this room, the whole day because it's my job, but it's been great because this stuff about making connections is the most important stuff that we do. So now, speaking of making connections, we are networking at Sunset on the Salish Sea, which starts at 4. Sunset itself won't come for a few hours, though, so it should be really pretty down there. Thank you, Jason. Thank you to all of our speakers. I think that was great. And in the final words of Jason Thomson, don't be boring.